Good afternoon, members of the media. Thank you for coming today. We'll now have some remarks from Senator the Honorable Owen Darrell, JP, Minister of Tourism, Culture, and Sport, with regard to the throne speech initiatives. Minister.
Good afternoon. In the second half of this year, Bermuda has seen world-class representation in the field of sport, both on and off the island. From near misses on the cricket pitch to podium finishes in the Pan Am Games, and just this last week, a young golfer's dream of playing in the PGA coming true. Competing on the world stage in sports is in our DNA, and I think that we should all recognize the dedication, hard work, and support that it takes to compete with some of the world's best. Achieving elite status as an athlete is a destination that starts at the grassroots and community level. And I want to take this time to thank the technical officers and staff within my ministry who have put in long hours to ensure that this government continues to support the development of sport in our community from the beginning to the amateur to the professional. The government has ensured that necessary funding totaling over $1.5 million reached some 21 national sports governing bodies over the last period, which can only be called an outsized return on investment, given the success our athletes have earned. In addition to the organizations and elite athletes that receive direct funding, I'm pleased that the necessary repairs to the netball and basketball courts were completed, in large part due to the collaboration with the Ministry of Public Works as well as other community partners. In the coming year, I am looking forward to executing plans to continue investing in our rich sporting heritage and our talented local athletes. During this parliamentary session, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport will look to pass the necessary legislative amendments to the Bermuda Anti-Doping Framework so we can not only fly our flag proudly at international events, but also ensure a clean and safe environment for our athletes. Following consultation between the Premier, myself, and the Director of Culture, the message was received loud and clear to what our creatives are looking for. It is not lost on this government that the long hours in honing one's craft requires the right environment to thrive, not only for sports, but also in creative endeavors. The need for makerspace emerged as the #1 wish for creatives during stakeholder feedback sessions. It is a fact that Bermudian creatives are not always able to have their art be their primary source of income. As a result, many do not have full access to the tools of the trade, which includes a space to rehearse, record, or meet to practice. The Department of Culture will further consult with creatives across multiple disciplines to ascertain the most important functionality that a makerspace should have for each genre of art. Collaboration with the Ministry of Public Works has already begun in identifying current unoccupied government buildings with a view to converting them to creative hubs. Through this year, we have seen record levels of rain and blustery weather, requiring us to cancel the Gombe Festival. However, I am still proud of our Gombe troops for coming out and representing our culture during the Bermuda Day Parade earlier this year. In the build-up to Bermuda Day 2024, we will be looking at the application process and giving more time for participants to apply for support for the Bermuda Day Fund. The public will be aware that following the government department realignment last week, I now have the responsibility for tourism. With the Bermuda Tourism Authority Summit taking place on the 28th of this month, it is my intent to engage key stakeholders and industry leaders in the coming weeks. This year's theme is building a better Bermuda tourism ecosystem. The focus is to collaborate with our industry partners to plan and commit to a networking system that will enhance the economic activities. This past weekend, under the leadership of the Bermuda Tourism Authority and in conjunction with local and international partners, the delivery of the Butterfield Bermuda Championship was a huge success. The dedication and hard work from the BTA are appreciated and recognized by the ministry. The recently released 2022 KPMG Impact Study showed that the PGA Butterfield Bermuda Championship is delivering great return on investment to our tourism industry. In alignment with the National Tourism Plan 2019-2026, the ministry, alongside the Bermuda Tourism Authority, will deliver more engaging experiences and events for visitors that include local involvement in the sport, art, and cultural arenas. This realignment of portfolios allows for synergistic partnerships between existing government departments and the responsibilities under the BTA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for those remarks. And I'll invite the Royal Gazette to ask a few questions from the Minister. Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Minister, and thanks for having us today. I wanted to start on the Tourism Investment Act. There was some word in the throne speech about streamlining it. I guess my first question was, were we not seeing much sort of uptake under the previous legislation?
Well, I would not say that. I would just say in anything that you do, there's always opportunity to look back and say, how can we do things maybe a little better, maybe a little more efficient? And that's somewhere in the Investment Act, the Tourism Investment Act, that we will look at to make it more user-friendly so that properties and restaurants and everyone else could get the services that they desire maybe a little faster.
Can you tell us anything about how it will be streamlined?
Well, you know, I've been in the seat for about 3
Yeah.
days now. So in the coming weeks, you will hear more about how we intend to do that.
Any particular products that you might personally want to see?
Well, I think I should hold that until we speak again.
Got you. On the maker spaces, obviously you've just said that's a work in progress, but I was wondering if there were any specific spaces or buildings that were potentially in mind.
Yes, we do. We are looking at quite a bit. You may or may not know that the Public Works Department of Estates is actually very close to where my office is located. So we have gone through a list of buildings, and you know, there's many different factors that go into that. How much it's going to cost to get a building back up to user-friendly levels, location of the building, and more importantly, what the creatives are actually looking for. That's the first and foremost piece that we need to look at as the building that is chosen and fixed up, for lack of a better word, is actually what the creatives need and what's going to help them.
Are there any particular buildings that you could tell us might be in line?
I think it will be premature at this time to start naming off properties, but I can tell you that that process, as I said in the speech, has started. We are looking at places, and at the right time, after proper consultation with the creatives, we will let the public know.
Obviously appreciating, as you said, that your tourism is a recent arrival in your portfolio. We had word from the BTA and from the opposition that visitor arrivals were still below pre-pandemic levels because there was a shortage of hotel beds. I wanted to hear if you think that's accurate, if it is, what the government might be doing about it, or if it's more a reflection on demand.
Well, I mean, there's no secret that the hotel beds from where we are pre-pandemic are down. You will know that there are some exciting properties and exciting news coming from properties across the island. Some properties that are redeveloping, some properties that are actually starting new construction. So, you know, the horizon looks great for tourism in Bermuda, and we fully expect that the beds will increase in short order.
Early days, but have you been in any contact with GenCom or West End, and have they given any indication of when we might see ground broken up?
It's only been 3 days,
It's been
and
3 days. Yeah.
I can tell you that on the agenda are meetings with all of the entities of which you speak, as well as a meeting with the chair of the BTA this week, and you know, as I talked about the summit, which is happening in 2 weeks. if you talk to me in December, we'll have a lot more solid answers for some of the questions of which you asked.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Royal Gazette. I'd like to invite Bermuda Broadcasting to ask a few questions of the Minister. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Minister. You touched on it in your speech, but this being your first press conference as newly styled Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, why was this ministry changed as you understand?
And I can tell you, I will just repeat the section of the speech which I said. We want our visitors to have more involvement with the sports, the arts, and the culture. There was a report that was done in 2018 which spoke about the arts and culture of Bermuda and how we can, bring those experiences to tourists. And I'm, happy with the work that the BTA is doing. And all I'm saying is that with this Ministry of with the tourism now coming under my ministry, which includes culture and sport, there's so much synergies that could happen, and we can increase these events that shows our visitors a full Bermudian experience.
Okay. And you, also you were at the Bermuda Butterfield Championship this weekend. What does an event like this do for national pride and to inspire young Bermudians who may be seeking a career in hospitality or to consider a career?
Well, you would have seen that, and I think in talking to your network while I was up there, I made a point to point out that everything that kind of went into putting on this championship touches with a number of different pieces of Bermuda culture. You would have seen young people up there that were helping with the food service. You would have seen individuals, whether it be volunteering, even if you're volunteering and that's getting into, the hospitality. I talked to someone yesterday evening who was doing caddy hospitality. So I know on television we see the golfers, and it's everyone that's included in this. There were taxi drivers and minibus drivers that picked up individuals from hotels and took them up to the championship. I met a group of individuals that were visiting Bermuda on a whole different matter from overseas. And I mentioned to them, hey, have you gone up to see the Butterfield Bermuda Championship? And they said, no, we have not. And on Sunday, they made their way there, and they were able to connect and hear stories from locals regarding culture and regarding, the sport of golf. And everybody was abuzz, as you know, with the young man, Oliver Belchard. And his first PGA event that he took part in. So it was a complete display of what Bermuda has to offer through the lens of the Butterfield Bermuda Championship.
And having been in this role as sports minister for a while now, yes. What other major sporting events do you have your eye on? Give us some hints on what else you'd like to see brought to Bermuda,
well,
even in small ways.
Yeah, like I said to the reporter earlier, I think that it will be a little inappropriate right now to give away exactly what is in the cards. I think it will be a little early, since I have not actually sat down and had a conversation with the chairman of the Bermuda Tourism Authority yet. So once we've had those conversations and the plans are laid out, I'll make sure that you're the first to know.
Now, touching on your the new addition to your ministry, the throne speech was fairly sparse of intention when it came to tourism. Is this a tacit acknowledgement that tourism is in a holding pattern until the Fairmont Southampton opens?
No, I wouldn't say that. You would know that the throne speech is to initiate what the government plans to do going forward as far as new legislation. And I would say to you that if you look back on last year's throne speech and the works that are continuing on in the realm of tourism, you will see that we are currently doing a lot in this area. And just because you did not see, multiple pages of it in this year's throne speech, I would not say that tourism is in a holding pattern. I would not say that at all.
And touching on tourism, touching on BTA reports, and the economy. According to the budget estimates, the Tourism Authority grant has been gradually reduced by about 15% between 2019 and now, from 22 million to 19 million estimated for the current year. Looking at the BTA's figures, by year-end 2022, estimated air leisure visitor spending was more than 34% down on pre-pandemic 2019. Year-to-date this year compared to 2019, estimated air visitor spending, both leisure, is more than 20% below 2019. And I don't know if any of those figures account for inflation. Should the BTA be downsized further to reduce the taxpayer burden until the Fairmont Southampton is opened?
Well, I wouldn't think it's fair to sit here and say that anybody should be downsized. What we may look at is how we can let any organization, and it's not just the Bermuda Tourism Authority, it could be, the Department of Sport, it could be, the Department of Culture, but we're going to look at how we can make everything that comes under this ministry work more effectively. So I'm not going to get drawn into downsizing and looking at the budget, which, as you know, comes around in February.
Okay. I want to ask this question, but you may not be able to touch on it yet, but you may be able to give us these figures. And notably, estimated cruise ship visitor spending is already about $1.5 million higher than the total for 2019, and I'm talking for Q3 this year. Not accounting for inflation, of course, but do you know if that is direct spending in restaurants and shops on island, or is quite a portion of that taxation?
Well, we'll have to look into that in more detail.
Can get that figure, thank you. There have been several tourism ministers over the years. What are you going to do that will set you apart?
Well, as I said in my speech, I will not and I cannot speak to, because I don't even know how many there have been previous to me. But I think, as I said earlier, with this ministry now being the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport, I think it's very clear as to what our initial outlay is going to be and the type of experiences that we are now looking for our visitors coming to the island to get more into.
One quick question for clarification on the maker spaces. Is the long-term intention for those to be rental spaces split out in a building that a person can take for an hour, a day, several weeks for an exhibition? Is that the plan?
I can tell you that the Director of Culture is very excited about this piece with Makerspace, and she has already started planning out and mapping out what this may look like. Obviously, what we do and how we do it is going to be, developed around the initial space that we find. And if it means that it works out well, or this particular space is to do with, arts, and then another one is to do with a different type of artist, we'll look to maybe even develop multiple maker spaces. So we're still in the development and planning stage of that, but this is something that will take place in this legislative year.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
All right, and with that concludes today's press conference with Senator Owen Darrell. Thanks very much. Have a good day.